and jeopardize the grading. If that's the case, if that's truly the case, then why don't we pass legislation to do away with the regulations and permitting and the preserve?
Well, first of all, I didn't say that. I did not say that there had been no ecological impact. I said that every concern that has been expressed to our office has been based on regulatory and not the ecological impact. When I asked DEP at the August meeting if there was any empirical data or analysis or studies that had been done as to whether or not there had been a degradation of the ecology, I was told that they were not aware of any. That is a very different statement than the words that you just put in my mouth.
I just wrote down what you said when you wrote the thing. Well, anyway, you know, it's a pretty slippery slope to excuse both the agency and all sort of grandfather in what's taking place. It's a very slippery slope. And everybody else that's on all the riverbanks of this county due to growth and development and what have you, as you seem to excuse a portion of this activity due to that, should also be excused and should not have to comply with any of it. I believe I'm compliant.
You're not the preserve, so you don't have to comply. So why don't you sit down and let somebody else talk?
And let me
I respect the comments, but this isn't a model rule thing. It's my time to speak. Thank you very much.
Let me just reiterate. There are a number of potential solutions that are on the table that are currently being researched. We do not know at this point what that final solution is going to look like. Hence the purpose of meeting here tonight, to hear your concerns, Mr. Leary, and also to hear all the other concerns, whether your concern is dealing with the ecology or your concern is dealing with your dock and its property value and your recreation. So I want to hear from all of you, so at the end of the day, I can represent you to the very best of my ability. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leary. We need to move on. We've got limited time here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, you'd like to ask a question? Okay.
Pedro, I live on the Nassau River. I'm also a realtor, and I guess I'm going to direct this to our property values and the DEP. In our regulation as a realtor, I have to, now that I know about the problem with our reserve, I can tell you that our property values on everybody that has a has just gone down. How am I to address that right now? Like, if I have to take a market analysis of somebody's house, and I would direct that to the DEP.
Where to begin? I don't know that I can sit here tonight and quantify or even estimate any sort of impact to property values. I actually have an MBA, but I don't think I went to a course that would enable me to figure that problem out here tonight. That said, I think the long-term solution that we are working together cooperatively towards is something that's going to treat everybody the same, consistently, fair, and equitably, and I think that's really going to be our best bet long-term, and I think that's a solution that I'm hopeful.
So going up to somebody's house that has a dock with a boat dock, and I go, well, this property was worth this, but now I really don't know, because if this dock washes away, you may not have to put a dock up at all, or you might have to put a smaller dock up. So really, we don't have a value right now. And I would direct that to our Tammy.
I think that's a very valid point to make. And I would be in the same, I'm sorry, I would be in the same mindset as not knowing at this point what that market analysis change would be. But as a realtor, I would think you would have to disclose that information to your potential customer.
Every realtor in Nassau County now has to disclose.
We can't hear.
So the appraisers now, your appraisers, our appraisers for banks, how are they going to determine value?
as you know, the property appraiser is responsible and our tax roll is effective as of January 1. So right now, we would be gathering this information just as you are and looking to see at what type of solution would be provided, and then study the analysis of what happened when some of those properties did sell.
And you're comparing sales that have happened in the past when it was very high, and now all of a sudden our property values tonight really just went down.
We would be looking at the potential impact.
Okay, so all of us kind of have to readjust our thinking on our taxes, correct?
Well, at this point, everybody wants their taxes to be lower, but from an investment end, I do see your concerns. You don't want to lose what your property is worth in the real world.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'll remind everyone that as you approach the microphones, whether it be on the panel or out in the audience, please keep closer to the microphones so the folks in the back can hear you. We would appreciate that. I do want to ask, before you get started, I apologize, don't remember your name. We do have a couple of other questions. I want to try to intersperse those in our discussion. One of the questions we had, what possibilities are there for homeowners to petition for rule change, 18-20 Florida Administrative Code, to change the dock standards in this aquatic preserve, and would FDEP consider this? Who would initiate it, and what type of information or data would be acquired or be helpful? Greg?
Well, I think we have the process that's already begun, which is to look for a legislative fix to this situation. And as Representative Atkins said, we don't know what the final solution will look like. We don't know when that might be implemented, but I think that's the way that the interest in that process could happen.
And I would also like to recognize Nassau Board of County Commissioner Chairman Barry Holloway, who just joined us besides Representative Atkins. Thank you, Chairman Holloway. We appreciate that. Do you have a question or concern?
Yeah, Scott Murray again, one more time. This is just short, and it's I'm really looking for an answer to this. The letter of consent that was mentioned earlier, as far as permitting goes, what agency would that come from? Now, in the mid-'80s, would that have been Department of Natural Resources? Or
Yes.
Army Corps of Engineers, or the environmental regulations?
That would have been the Department of Natural Resources, the predecessor to DEP.
So if I've got a permit from the Corps of Engineers, Natural Resources, and environmental regulations, I should be in good shape.
You might be. I would suggest that you send it to our office for review.
See where we're going.
Thank you, Scott. Yes, sir, you have a question?
Yeah, Kelly Canfield. This is directed to anybody up here that would like to answer, but might think that I'm crazy, but we're getting ready to pull a dock permit on Dolphin Creek. I was wondering if y'all anticipate any additional impact fees, permit fees, or perhaps time frame of getting a permit, additional time frame. I called and talked to someone at the DEP about a month ago, and they had indicated that the time frame to get a permit should be no more than about a month. Will that still be the case?
All right. One of the things that we can promise everybody here tonight that's interested in working with our office over the next few weeks and months is that we will give each of you, to the best of our ability, individualized service. We'll serve as your consultants, your advisors, if you will, bounce ideas off us. We'll come up and meet you on site. We'll set up a meeting in our office, whatever's most convenient for you, in the hopes that we can work through as many of these problems over the next few months, and then we can kind of shrink the pie come next June once we have a solution in place, and then we can work with a bigger group then. But if you have specific questions on the process, we can meet after this meeting tonight and get you queued up real quick.
So you haven't changed the fees in, say, the last 90 days, 60 days?
I'm unaware of any fee changes, and I'm unaware of any fee changes that are pending or even being contemplated at this time.
Okay, thank you.